On today's episode of Black Women Connecting Communities, we'll be talking about being seen and not heard as women. Can you recall a time when you felt dismissed as a woman?
We're being very unapologetically black.
Black women, black women, black women, black women.
Black women connecting communities.
When we get together and we do it collectively, that's even more powerful.
I sit in my own truth.
We want to distribute information to our people.
We are very organized. It's going to take us to come together.
Black Women Connecting Communities.
Hey. Welcome back, everyone. This is the first episode of season 2 of Black Women Connecting Communities. That's right, you guys. We are back. And if you missed us, then you are definitely in for a treat this season. We have so much coming up. We have some new segments. We have the whole crew back. Boogie, Kris, and Ty are in the building. So I just want you guys to be ready for a great season that we have coming up. We've been planning and preparing. We have been planning and preparing for this season just for you guys, because we definitely want to hear what you all have to say. So, and we're going to start off this particular season with a topic about being seen and not heard as women. So, before we get all the way into the conversation, I definitely have to bring the ladies to the table. Hey.
Hello, it's your girl Boogie.
Hey, Ty Flood here. How's everyone doing?
Hey, Kris Jim. Hey, y'all, we're back.
Yay!
Oh. Round of applause. Yes. So I'm so excited to have all the ladies back. You know, the first season was like just us getting our feet wet again, dipping our toes back in the water. But I think that this season we definitely have a lot in store for the community as a whole, and especially you Black women. So we're going to be talking about issues that matter to us, definitely. And we have some new segments. You know, Ty's going to be giving us the awe moment. You know, so it's going to be like therapy here on the podcast.
Oh, yes, and we all need that.
And then, yes, we do. Okay. And then Pastor Boogie is going to give us our spiritual nugget of the week.
Woo, woo, woo. Hallelujah.
Praise him. Say what? Praise him. Okay. And then I'm going to make sure that we continue to do the work and keep the faith each episode as we continue to progress and empower, inspire, and motivate you all in the community. So that's what it is. And so today's topic, as you heard at the beginning of the episode, is being seen and not heard as women. And this topic came up because me and Kris, especially during our break, have been speaking to so many women, and they have been just expressing themselves on how, as women, you know, we get dismissed and just overlooked on so many different things. And so I would just like for us to kind of discuss that, like what are some of the times that you ladies, you know, Ty, Boogie, and Kris, have felt seen and not heard? I mean, because I can name a whole lot.
Yeah, it has been a lot. Like if you look at like work and just in media and just in life, period, you know what I'm saying? It's a male-dominated world with just about everything. You know, they don't respect women. They could look at us all day long because we look fabulous and amazing. And when we're walking, we walk with authority. Like, you know, we got it going on. So there's no problem with them looking at us. But it just, when it gets to the point where we're voicing our opinions, and we have great, amazing ideas that our counterparts which may be a male, may have compared to when we speak, is dismissed because a male gets overpowered, you know, because it's always been a male dominant world anyway. So it's like we may have all the great ideas and may have all the great strategic plans that need to be put in place, but it's just dismissed because we are women.
You said something real poignant in this whole conversation about being seen. And I heard, like, men in general just are visual people. So, of course, they like to see us. They definitely don't want to hear us because they don't listen. But, they definitely like to see us. And that's going to, now my brain is thinking already. My brain is moving. What about you, Ty? What about sometimes that you felt maybe seen and not heard?
Well, I mean, kind of just piggybacking off of what Boogie said, especially, being in the entertainment or media industry and working with, these men who initially, years ago, and even sometimes today, even though the mentality has changed a lot, but working, being in these places where men, were running things, and so it was like it was like a lot of pressure to try to be seen, if that makes sense. So you would have these situations where you'd have to like just be over the top to be seen. It was just so much pressure. And I just recall just kind of feeling, having those moments where I would just be so over it. Those moments where I would just kind of question, like, okay, is this really something that I want to do? Question, you start questioning your talent, your abilities, because you're like, I really shouldn't have to go through all this just to express myself. Absolutely. Or to do the job that needs to be done. So I think definitely in career, I mean, obviously this can go along lines of, relationships.
Exactly.
And like you said, Kris, I mean, men are visual people. So, the visual creatures. So sometimes, you kind of like out of sight, out of mind, with that. And then, but the funny thing about it is that sometimes us women, we also kind of put that on each other as well, where we don't really see, we see each other, but we don't really hear. And I think that kind of goes back to that fight, that constant fight of trying to make sure that you're on top, and you're trying to make sure that you are, always trying to make sure that you're front and center. We're so used to trying to fight for attention and fight for this. So we're like, we're slowly, sometimes there's situations where we also kind of,
fall into that trap.
Exactly.
Of seeing each other but not hearing one another. I agree with you. And it's funny that you said that because, you guys are talking about career and in the industry, and we are in like a male dominated industry, but just in life, you know what I'm saying? In life partners, like you said, even in friendships, you get to the point where people see you, they see you and they think or whatever, but they don't listen to what you have to say. And I think that's really important. Like I have a tendency to be very aggressive when I get angry. Like I'm not going to say angry, but when I'm passionate about something, I have a tendency to be extra. I speak with my hands. And so people see that and they dismiss what I'm saying, because they only see the bull, coming at them because one, I'm either really passionate or I'm really angry. One of the other two things happen. But what I'm saying is valid. What I'm saying is legit. And a lot of times that gets lost because of what they see me doing. Say, you doing all of this and you doing all of that. But are you listening to what I'm saying to you?
I can relate with you on that, Kris, because I get louder when I'm passionate about stuff. And this is not out of anger. It's just my tone, my volume goes up because I'm excited about whatever it is that I'm discussing. So I get louder. And with that, I have noticed that I'm not being heard. I mean, honestly, before I even raise in volume, I'm not being heard. So let me say that part first. And I want to talk to it. I'm going to speak for, because you guys have already talked about like career, business, friends. I want to come at it from a family point of view. And my experience is during this pandemic with everybody being home. Everybody being home. So it's like 8 of us in my household. My mom, my sister, the kids, my aunt, we're all in here. And I'm still working. My workload has actually definitely increased. So I'm not around the kids as everybody's used to me being around, being hands-on with stuff. So now to me, it's kind of like when I say stuff, nobody's really listening because they're like, oh, well, you're not here now. Even though I'm literally in my home studio, so I'm right around the corner. Like I'm still here, but it's like they know I'm around. But when it comes to me saying stuff as far as I'm just dealing with the kids, like how they should do this, they shouldn't do that. It's like they're not hearing me. They really not listening now because in the situation that I'm in, I'm not able to kind of like hover and always be seen and, make my presence known, if you guys can understand. So from a family point of view, that's been my experience, especially in the pandemic, because this only started with this daggone pandemic that's been going on for over a year now.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We're here speaking on the topic, and as Black women, this is, like I said, this subject came up so many times during the break. For instance, me and Carib were on the Freedom Podcast, and the conversation came up. And then another one of our affiliates was speaking about her just being in relation with her husband. So it's just like the aspects of being seen and not heard. And then just hearing the stories from so many women has been impactful. That's why we felt like it was necessary for us to bring this up and for this to be our first topic for the second season, because, we're not only beautiful, because that's been said. Hello, hallelujah. Not only are we beautiful, but we do have something to say. You know what I'm saying? It's very valid, and we want to be heard as well. That's why we're coming to you live right here. Well, we're not live because it's pre-recorded, but we're coming to you live from this radio on Wild Radio.
But we will be live though.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna do our first live show on Wednesday, March 31st.
Yes. Oh,
and it'll be live from that point on.
And it's gonna be great, y'all. Y'all just need to stay tuned to it. So we're gonna go to a quick break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about how does it feel to be seen and not heard. How does that impact you? Because we could talk about it all day, but how does that really make you feel? How does that impact you and how you move forward and how you engage with other people? So we're going to take all of that. We done unpacked all of this. We're going to put it all back together. Stay tuned to Black Women Connecting Communities right here on Wild Radio. Did you miss us? We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back with season 2 of Black Women Connecting Communities.
Make sure you check us out at blkwomencc.com for all of our blogs.
We have a store, y'all. We have different articles. So make sure you keep it locked to wowuradio.net and check us out and share it with everyone.
And also make sure you follow us at blkwomencc on all social media platforms.
Because we are back. I hope you enjoyed season 1, but season 2, we're coming with a vengeance.
Let's not rush this feeling, dealing with each other. Let's take our time until we learn each other. No limits, no blocks, no boundaries. Love has truly found me, laying in your arms, head on your chest. Listen to your heartbeat, take slow breaths. Zone out, the universe has been so kind to find the mind that's combined with intellect. Yeah, whatever. You always talking shit. Before you walk away. Spiritual beings we are, guided by the stars. Aura, natural beauty, talking to you soothes me like ginger tea, feeds me like lentil soup, stimulates the root sprouts from the crown chakra. Holy Father, Mother, Creator, the source of royalty, a savior, highly favor, flowing through the bloodline. Is this a crime? The King of Sorrow, Sade. I'm amazed by the grace. like shit.
Welcome back to Black Women Connected Communities. You were just listening to Say by Enoch, the Seventh Prophet from the Moment of Your Time EP that he dropped recently. Shout out to Enoch, Seventh Prophet, for providing the tunes. And just a little side note, I did the video. Shameless plug, you know.
OG Media Production.
Wait a minute. I ain't hear about no video shoot. What?
Yeah, that was an old video. Girl, I'll be doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes, she do. You already know.
Corinne was in the video.
Yeah, I was.
Oh,
that was Ratchet Chick. I was Corinne.
Yes, that's what she was.
Chick.
Oh, you was in a truck with her?
Yeah.
Yes,
oh,
that was her. Gave away the secret. They all know now, Kris.
Oh, I know. See, I said I didn't want to be in the video anyway. I wasn't.
Oh man, I missed that one.
You missed it. Okay, party over here. So if you Black Women Connected Communities, you are tuned in to our first episode of the second season. Make sure you go back and check out our website, www.blkwomen.com. You can also follow us on Facebook. Okay.
I'm gonna hurt you. You know that, right?
Yeah,
That's
I know.
Why you always task me with the promo, though.
See, and she told me to do it.
I did. So just so you guys know, that is www.blkwomencc.
CC. I knew that. Yeah. I knew that. I forgot the
remember,
CC
like
part.
a sailor went to see where he could see, and only he could see.
You taking us back with that one, Boogie.
I was like, ooh, Lord, today. So blkwomencc.com. That's the website. It's also the handle for Facebook and Instagram. So make sure you go on and check us out. I think I got it right this time.
You have no reason to forget those words. Everywhere.
It's right there. We are everywhere. Shout out to you, Ty, because you be posting like I don't know what.
I know. I'll be like, share.
I'll be trying.
She's a great girl. You guys are awesome.
You doing it.
I be applauding.
Okay, women CC.
Yes.
Strong J. So you definitely see us, and we definitely want you to continue to hear us. And that's the topic for today's episode: being seen and not heard as Black women. And in the first segment, we talked about all of our experiences, just touched on it a little bit about being seen and not heard. And this segment, we want to talk about how that makes us feel. We're going to unpack this stuff. You know what I'm saying? How can we come to some resolution and work towards not feeling like that? Okay. So, how does it make you feel? So personally, for me, when I feel as though I'm not seen, when I'm not heard or seen, it doesn't really matter. I tend to get irate. It's not necessarily the best thing to do, but it makes me want to shine brighter. It makes me want to speak louder so that you can hear me. You know what I'm saying? That's ultimately how it makes me feel. And it depends on too what the situation is. I could say that for business, but in relationship, even family relationship and romantic platonic relationship, it does something else because you definitely want the people who you're close to hear you. You know what I'm saying? So I think it depends on what it is. In business, it just makes me want to go harder. But in personal, to be seen and not heard hits differently because I feel like those people should be there. You know what I'm saying? They should listen. Yeah. So what about Ty?
Yeah, I think, for me, and like you said, it just depends on the people you're dealing with and the situation. Like I've had moments where, I would completely shut down. You know, if I'm not seen or if I don't feel seen or heard, I would just shut down. And guess what? You won't hear from me again. You
How
know,
about that?
you know, you won't see or hear from me again if you can. So, you know, but
That's facts.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, I'm not going to share, you know, share certain things or do certain things if I feel like you don't have an interest in what I'm saying and what I'm, you know, or anything like that. I'm not going to. Then I'm not going to share with you. And sometimes that, you know, some people can't handle that when you know, all of a sudden now they hear you once you completely like shut everything down, which is very interesting to me. But there have been times obviously where, you know, you like you said, you know, if it's personal relationships, you know, because for me, it's like, if you don't hear what I'm saying, if you're not like really listening, then you don't understand me. And there's going to be some conflict. Yeah. Because if you don't understand me, then everything that I say or do, you're going to take it totally out of context. You're going to take it totally different than how I'm spitting it, because you don't understand who I am, because you're not really paying attention. So
you just dropped a whole bomb on them. I said, yeah, I totally feel you on that. Yeah, get ghost on them for real. I do this.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to, because you're like, oh, okay. But see, me, my comedic relief, I always got to hit a joke in there somewhere. And you're going to pay attention to what I got to say eventually, because I'm going to just make you laugh real quick. And then you're going to take the focus off of you. It's going to bring back to me. But how does it make you feel? Like, it makes me feel horrible when I'm not being heard at home and at work. Now, either or, you could kind of balance. But when you have it at home and then you have it going on at work too, it's frustrating as hell, because you're just not being heard. And so then it makes you question who you are as a person. And then you just have to go into your affirmations and be like, I am not who you say I am. You know what I'm saying? I am, I'm about to go, where I'm about to go, but I do have something to say, and eventually you're going to listen to what I have to say. Maybe by me going a different approach, but what I have to say is going to be heard. And, but it does make you feel some type of way when you go into a meeting and you're not heard, or you're going home and, no one at home wants to hear what you have to say. The kids may not want to hear, your husband may not want to hear what you have to say, and your feelings are being dismissed. Of course, it makes you feel some type of way. But then you have to, backtrack and just kind of really sit back and think, why didn't they want to hear what I have to say? Was it my approach? Was it the way I came off? Did I come off too aggressive? Was I not aggressive enough? So you just kind of have to reevaluate.
Did I speak clearly? Did I really articulate what I wanted to say?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a big point too, Boogie, because you do have to kind of reflect, like, okay, well, maybe I didn't communicate it effectively enough to where they understood exactly where I'm coming from, or maybe they didn't think what I was saying was, serious, because if you're on joke mode all the time, and they're just like, oh, she just whatever.
Exactly. Because it could be a blessing and a curse sometimes.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, but it'd be like, wait a minute, I'm serious. Like, this is serious, and you're right. Like, when it's something where you have to, and I think that especially a lot of women, this is where they really get completely just stressed and just depressed, because they're dealing with it at home and they're dealing with it at work. Like, when you have those moments where you feel like you're getting it everywhere, it's just like, oh my gosh. And then
Becky.
Yeah, it's just like, what in the world is going on? So I think you talking about really going back and really building yourself up and really kind of talking to yourself now, like, okay, what did you do? What can you do differently? Or how can you reapproach a situation? I think if it's serious enough, you're going to approach it again, and you just know how to approach it differently.
So with that being said, like, what the resources, like, how, if you don't know how to communicate differently, what can, help somebody do that? Because that's like I think you have to work through that, like, to figure out what your language is, or how you just speak to someone so that they get what you're saying? And do you dumb it down, or do you, what I mean, because I'm trying to, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to brick walls. I feel like I'm talking to mannequins, I don't,
it's so funny because the older I get, the more, I think the more
less tolerant you become.
I'm very, there's no tolerance, but there's more, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm more secure. And so it's kind of like, I'm going to speak up more about it than probably what I did, I probably have done previously. I'm going to actually take that person to the side and say, okay, clearly there's some kind of disconnect. What, I'm trying, if it's a situation, like I said, it depends on the situation, we need to be on the same page, or we need to have an understanding. I'm going to be more secure and, honor how I feel a little bit more versus just kind of like pushing it off to the side. And I'm going to make sure that they honor how I feel, if that makes sense. So more vocal about what it is I want and what I need.
Yeah, and it's about that too. I agree with you, Ty. And it's about, sometimes people are just not in a space where they can receive what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes that becomes a factor as well too. So it's just,
That's true.
The older you become, you just feel more confident and more, secure in who you are, like you said. And then you just have to understand sometimes people just not in that same space where they can receive what you're saying. Yeah. And that is okay. Yep. Right. So, but other people have to understand it is okay. Like, we could agree to disagree. Like, I don't have to agree with what you're saying. You don't have to agree with mine, but let's come to a common ground where we're reaching the same solution.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really about coming to a common ground. It's about, like I said, I think once you get older and you kind of go through the motions of different journeys, you start to understand yourself a little bit more. You start to feel confident. You start to, speak up a little bit more. And that kind of brings to like the awe moment. And the awe moment it just kind of, I like to reflect on just certain mental wellness or certain tips and things like that. So as we're coming out of Love Month or Black Love Month, as we kind of observe since, it's Black History Month as well in February. We talk about we're talking about being seen and heard. I think, I'm really inspired, or I've been inspired by a lot of women that I follow on Instagram or social media in general, and how they've shared like their self-care, their self-love journey, how they've shared how they approach loving themselves, and how they approach how to communicate effectively to other people, to kind of, share boundaries with other people, just to make sure that they are, their journey, like make sure that they are going along their healing journey the best way that they can. So I think whether like if you're single in a relationship, I think one of the things is kind of asking yourself, how are you seeing and hearing yourself? And like, how are you listening to your body? How are you listening to your mind, your feelings and things? Like, how are you listening to yourself to make sure that you are you're making your wellness a priority for you? And I think once you start with yourself and you start kind of working out all those kinks within yourself, working out all those questions, and that can be, writing down your insecurities, writing down things that you feel like you're trying to speak out loud and no one's hearing, writing them down in a journal. So that way you can kind of reflect. And it always goes back on reflecting on you and reflecting on the people around you, reflecting on different things. But how are you seeing and hearing yourself, and how are you loving on yourself? And I think once you start learning how to do that within yourself, you kind of can respect when people don't understand you. You can kind of respect it a little bit more. You be like, okay, we can agree, like you said, but we can agree to disagree. It's cool. You don't, just because you don't understand, you don't approve, or you don't agree with things I'm saying, I'm totally fine with that. I just need you to hear that this is where I'm at. And this is who I am, and this is the journey that I'm on. So I just kind of encourage for this all moment, just encourage everyone to kind of see and hear yourself and really reflect on who you are and who you're trying to become. And that's my aha moment.
Wonderful. Yeah, it really feels good to be able to express how not being heard has impacted us emotionally. So in the next segment, we'll start organizing our thoughts and then the resources that we came up with so that we can deal with these feelings in a healthy way. So stay tuned to Black Women Connecting Communities right here on Wow Radio. We'll be right back.
I'm fading, even though this once was amazing. I don't know what to do, but lately, all this passion's clashing with our greatness. I expected so much of you. I ain't saying we ain't enough. I ain't saying love ain't tough. It's for my heart, I put it up. I can never get enough of you. Heart invested all for us, but our love was not enough. I gave you all of my trust, just for you to give it up.
Celebrate the 5th year anniversary of Global Sisters United Day, started by my mom, Wasita McKinley. Join the virtual celebration of sisterhood around the world on March 31st, 2021 at 8 p.m. on Black Women Connecting Communities. Contact Black Women, that's BLK Women, CC@gmail.com to participate. Global Sisters United, we are one.
Welcome back to Black Women Connecting Communities. It's Ty Flood here. And of course, today we are talking about being seen and not heard. And we just kind of went through how it made us feel, like the emotions we went through. And now it's just kind of talking about how can we organize our thoughts and resources so that we can be heard, so that we can deal with the times when we're not being heard, when we feel like we're not being seen, which is kind of interesting because I think everyone's going to have their different ways of organizing their thoughts around this. And it may kind of involve, of course, you have your anger, when it deals with that, but then it's like, how do how do you like snap back and say, okay, this is how I'm going to organize it? By the way, we just listened to I Love Needs a Break by Lani, Boheme. And did I pronounce the last name correct? I hope I did. So
you did a good job.
Back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you guys organize your thoughts and resources? I mean, we kind of touched on different ways that we handle the emotions behind not being clean ahead, but how do you, what is your thought about organizing thoughts? What does that mean to you as far as organizing your thoughts and resources?
I call Jesus.
Yes. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That's what we do.
He always listens to me.
Always 24/7.
I call God.
I swear that's the truth, though. It's just kind of like, you try to get your strength. Mm-hmm. That's the way you get your strength. Mm-hmm. When dealing with things, it's just like, oh gosh, okay, God, I just put it in your corner, and I'll just, let you deal with that. Sometimes you just gotta let it go.
That's your source.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll tell you that. Sometimes just let it go, boo. Let it go. I'm like, okay, but you show up because I really need them to hear me right now.
Well, the funny thing about it is that, you could think to times where you've always reacted to certain things. And now it's like, I'm not going to react to every little thing that's going on. I'm just going to let it be, and just go with that. I think that that's sometimes how I deal with times of not being heard. It's just, I'm not going to have no huge reaction. I'm going to think about what's going on first. It's like, it's not a reaction at first. It's just, okay, let me think on this so I can really respond the best way. And really so I can have a moment to get my thoughts together.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a woosah moment. Just woosah. You have notes in front of you. You just jot down. Okay, I'm gonna put a pinhole in this right quick because I may have an opportunity to revisit this, and I'm going to come with a different approach. So I'm going to just take a few notes and maybe detour this thing one more time and try and see if we can come up with a way that I can be heard.
That's funny.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's funny you said to write it down, because if I feel as though I have to get it out, because a lot of times for me, it's just like I feel like I just have to get it out, whether you want to hear it or not. So for me, the best way to do it is just to write it down. And even if they don't read it, or if they don't, whatever, even if I don't share it, just to write it down and get it out.
Because you're still releasing it.
Because
you're not holding it in. The anger of not being heard, and the anger of, them not listening to make you believe that what you're saying is not valuable. And so they're not validating your feelings about, the situation.
We were talking off air about our children. And so I kind of, I was just kind of thinking about, how do you deal with it when it deals with your children, when your children they're not listening, they're not being heard. And a prime example is if, with this virtual world going on, and you're trying to stay on top of your kids' work, and you're like, get this done or work on this. And you realize that it's got going through one ear and out the other. Like, they're not really hearing how important it is to
listen,
get this stuff done, or they're not hearing how serious you are, and to where like, okay, now I have to have an action plan. Now I have to figure out, okay, they're not listening this time to me last time. Now what are my next steps to do?
So then the self-affirmations have to kick in. You just reaffirming that I am a good mother. My son is a really good kid. Today is going to be a great day. We're going to figure out a way to make this.
I make my son repeat me. I make my son repeat after me, because it's like, especially at that age, it's like, okay, so did you hear what mommy asked you to do? All right, I need you to repeat it to me. You know what I'm saying? So that I can make sure that you're hearing what is said. And that works. I mean, at his level, it works just so that's just basic. It's like, because I'll say, pick your toys up off the floor, and he'll go to the room and forget that I said pick the toys up, and he'll won't do it. And I'm like, the toys. So it's like I make him repeat it so that I know that he's heard me. With adults, it's a little different. and it's more like a give and take situation, but it is still that same thing of, can you tell me what you thought I said, please? What, can you reiterate? What did you hear me say? You know what I'm saying? What did you hear me say? Because if you heard me say something, so then we can get to that understanding. Like, what did you hear me say? Because I didn't say that, or I didn't mean it in that sense.
Because
and that goes
people,
back to
that's perfect. Yeah.
Because people can interpret something totally different than what you say. Because this is what I said. I'm like, I did not say that. But so you're telling me what you heard me say is what you said. That's totally not what I said. Let's talk about how we could communicate this on a level of both of us understanding.
Yep.
It's funny. That's a good point as far as saying, okay, so repeat what I said back to me, like when you're talking, and that's with children and adults. And I think, I know going to a therapy session before, and like going to a couples therapy session one time. And that was one of the tips that the therapist said, like, ask them, what did you hear, or repeat back to them, so that they can understand. And even at work, I'm a project manager, so I'm working on thousands of projects every single day. So if I'm working with clients, I need to make sure I understand clearly what they're saying and what they need. So I have to repeat. I say, okay, just to be clear, this is exactly, and I think that goes with any kind of, I think that's a great communication technique to use for anybody, any situation.
Because then it's clear, it's clear what was heard and what was interpreted. And if there is any misunderstanding, it can be rectified. And then still, if there is an inability at that point for both parties to understand, then you can, walk away peacefully knowing that you've done everything. They just don't listen or they just don't understand me. And if that's the case, then that's just what it is. And because what I do not do, especially now, and, talking about getting older, is I don't spend a whole lot of time explaining myself. I'm going to do it. The ladies are shaking their heads. Yes. I'm not going to be explaining myself.
No, I don't have the time to be sitting here. Because at this point, I'm just like, I'm zoned out. I'm just like, okay, never mind.
Listen, the way my cancer is set up, I don't even have the patience or the capability of having to explain myself. Don't do that.
No. So we're going to, because I think we got some really good steps here, some action plans, some things that we can do to move forward. But Boogie, we want to make sure that they have that grounded. So what's the spiritual nugget for the week from Pastor Boogie?
So listen, with 2021 coming in, we all know and recognize that women are coming through with a vengeance, right? In different leadership roles that we haven't seen before, which is amazing. And so we just need all our women to know and understand that there is no limit to what women can accomplish. And we can walk into that room and we can sit at that table and have with confidence knowing that what we say is going to be heard because we can articulate it in a way that everybody will be able to understand. And we know that we can focus more on the good things, which are women in power who have really taken it to the next level, that we have women that we see today that are in positions where we want to go and where our little young princesses want to go as well. So we have those examples in place. So just, knowing that women, it's nothing we can't accomplish right now. It's a good feeling of knowing that we can move forward and know our places and know that we have a voice and a place to be heard.
That's right. Okay. You are listening.
I feel like snapping.
That's right.
We're doing it, y'all. We're doing it.
We are doing it. And you are listening to Black Women Connecting Communities right here on Wild Radio. This is our second season, first episode. Make sure you stay tuned every other week. And make sure you tune in for our live BWCC BWCC show, Wednesday, March 31st. Right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and wrap all of this up, put a nice little bow on it so y'all can take it home and use it. But we're going to do a throwback indie song right now by Green Tea called Queen. We'll be right back right here on Wild Radio, Black Women Connecting Communities.
Hey, 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 yeah. My price is far above rubies or even diamonds for that matter. I'm a child of the king, so when you come at me, come correct and know what you're offering. Not necessarily speaking on material wealth, but if you have it, that's cool. I'm talking character and integrity shining through, permeating your being. Not a cheap counterfeit, no wolves and sheep clothing. Authenticity, knowing your identity. Being confident in who you are, and knowing where you're going is what I ask of you. 'Cause I'm a queen, I'm a woman, I'm a queen, I'm a queen. You treat me with dignity and respect, if you know what I mean. No more settling for nothing less than what I deserve. Said I know my price and I know my worth. So that get a little loving game, you get to that girl type stuff ain't gonna work. Not here, not with me. So think twice before you think of approaching me. I'm a woman, I'm a queen, You treat me with dignity and respect, if you know what I mean. You can DEPEND on me, you can LOVE love me, you can TRUST trust me. You can DEPEND on me, you can LOVE love me, you can TRUST trust me. I'm a woman, I'm a queen, You treat me with dignity and respect, if you know what I mean. I'm a woman, I'm a queen, You treat me with dignity and respect, if you know what I mean.
What's up, y'all? This is your girl, Lene Monet, from the new podcast, Chicken Wings and Comedy Things. Our podcast is full of, chicken wings and comedy things. So if you like both, make sure you tune in every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Wild Radio. Go to www.wilduradio.net/shows and click on our logo. Follow us on Instagram at Chicken Wings and Comedy Things for updates and special announcements. See you there. Peace.
Welcome back to Wild Radio. This is Black Women Connecting Communities right here on Wild Radio. And just to reiterate, that was a indie music throwback. You were just listening to Green Tea with Queen. And that's one of my favorite songs, by the way. One of my favorite indie music throwbacks. So just to let you guys know where you can tune in to some of the information we have about BWCC, you can just visit our website, www.blkwomencc.com. And there you will find links to our podcast, because we are streaming everywhere, especially on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts. So you will find links to there. You'll find our store. If you want to get some BWCC merch, that's the place to go. And we also have some featured news. Yes, we do. We have a blog. And in this blog, we have such things as a host corner. We have different issues and topics that just us hosts, Ty, Boogie, Kris, and myself, Carib Gem, we talk about, we give our views on. There's also the Spiritual Nugget of the Week by L Boogie. And we have some positivity with Poe as well. So definitely, you have to go to our website. Check us out, www.blkwomencc.com. And of course, on all social media, we are BLK Women CC on IG, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Wherever we are, it's going to be BLK Women CC.
That's what it is. So this has been a great first show back, season 2. I'm feeling some kind of juju juice. It's just making me feel all tingly on the inside. And I think people are really going to see and hear us this season, just in general. As a collective, we are definitely being seen and heard. And so individually, as you go out in your relationships, in your work environment, sit back and evaluate your situations. Okay. We are all about action here. So our CTA, what we want you all to do, sit back and evaluate your situation. Think about the time that you've been seen and not heard, or felt seen and not heard. How did that make you feel? Okay. And think about how you reacted before and how you can react differently. So think about the approach and what you can do differently. And then come up with a personal plan for yourself on how you can move forward in different relationships, how you cannot get so caught up in being stuck and wanting to be heard, but instead freeing yourself of that need and then just saying what it is that you have to say and then letting it go. Because I think that really is what's going to be the key to being seen and heard, because that action of saying what you have to say, standing in it, and then walking away and say, I said what I had to say, is very powerful. So in this approach, as you move forward, as you continue to go through relationships, if you feel like you're being seen and not heard, do the work. Sit back, look, evaluate, keep the faith, write it down, and let it go. That is the do the work, keep the faith moment of reflection for this particular segment, for this particular show. And it's something that we'll be doing at the end of each show, just to evaluate what we talked about. Like, one of the main reasons this show was started when Carib approached us all is because we wanted to be adamant about making sure that there was an action plan behind everything that we did and we talked about. So you're going to get that CTA. We're going to show you how to do the work and keep the faith. So with that being said, ladies, we're going to go around and do your last closing comments and thoughts about this topic of being seen and not heard. And then we're going to go. Like, this hour goes by so fast. It really, truly does.
Absolutely does.
We're talking about good stuff. And I'm pretty sure that we all have so many different scenarios and so many different things to add to this conversation. Because, as you start talking, more things start popping up in your head. Like, wow. And this, and I remember that. But my final comments is just basically, I agree with the CTA, just kind of evaluate the situation, think of a different approach, really just focus on your feelings, like how do certain things make you feel, so that way you can also communicate that to whomever, is involved. So you can really, so that they can understand And we talked about, really repeating yourself sometimes, like really making sure that they understood, making them repeat what you said to make sure that they understand what you're saying. So just, some good communication techniques, and yeah.
Yeah, that was a good point, Ty, especially that call back, saying repeat of what you were trying to get your point across, just getting them to be able to have clarity on what your point is. Came up with a lot of great ideas and great points about feeling like we're not heard. And so just we always want to just have our feelings and our points validated. And so just coming up with the CTA is just a real good way of, reevaluating the situation and just thinking of different ways how to approach what you have to say and making sure your point is come across in a way that everybody is able to understand.
Boogie, what you just said about validation is very key. I think a lot of times, even in this topic, like, okay, what Ty said, we could keep talking about this because you bring up the word, you throw validation into the mix, and now we're talking about something totally. We're talking about a whole lot of different things. And a lot of times the feelings of being seen and not heard may come from a place of feeling inadequate, you know what I'm saying, or needing that validation. So it's part of your reflection. See, what you're saying a need for validation from someone else? You know what I'm saying? And if it's a need for validation, then maybe you should talk to yourself and see if you're listening to you. I'm just saying, because other than that, the only person the person I call nowadays, like I said earlier, is Jesus. I call on him when I need to be heard because I know he's always listening.
Often, yes. He has an open ear. Yes.
He'd be like, hello. I'm like, hey. Sometimes he'd be eavesdropping and I didn't even ask him to. But, that's a whole different situation.
Yeah, sometimes he's like, hello, I'm here waiting for you to talk to me.
I wasn't talking to you today. It's like I wasn't today. But what about you, Kris? What's your takeaway from today's great episode?
My takeaway is really the call to action, because we've had these conversations before, you and I, off air. But my takeaway from everything is really the call to action to sit back and evaluate the situation. Really do that. Sometimes I have a hard time with doing that because I'm just like, but I don't understand why though. I don't understand. So for me, just sitting back and just thinking more about the situation and maybe coming up, like you said, with a different approach. And that's something I'm going to take from this for sure. Because I need to be more about my action when it comes to stuff like that. I need to be more about the action part. So that's the biggest thing for me.
Awesome. And listen, if you don't know, this season of Black Women Connected Communities is about to be off the Shazam. Okay. We're going to be talking about some things. This episode, talking about being seen and not heard, and then next week we're gonna get sexy on you. All right, we're gonna get sexy on you. We're gonna be talking about
let's go.
We're gonna be talking about sensuality. You know what I'm saying? And what that means for us as Black women, and kudos to Ty for bringing this topic up because it's something. It's the truth. It's the truth, and yes. I don't want to get too much into it because then we won't have nothing to talk about next time. But
all my life.
Yes. All my life.
All my life I had to fight.
Yes, the labels, it's so much. And we're definitely going to get into it next time, which will be, make sure you tune into that show, which is going to be March 17th. You check that show out. It's going to be on sensuality. And then we're going to be live. That's right.
Live.
You're going to see us. You're going to hear, well, you already hear us, but you're going to see us and you're going to see a whole host of women around the world as we celebrate a very special event for our first live show, Black Women Connected Communities. That's going to be Wednesday, March 31st. Man, I'm super excited about that. So make sure you stay tuned for more information on how you can participate in this great thing that we have going on that you don't know all about yet. So that's what that's going to be. And make sure you are staying connected to us. A lot of people there's a lot of things going on. So what you don't want to do is miss any of it. So make sure you visit www.blkwomencc.com and follow us at BLKWomenCC on Facebook, IG, Twitter, and TikTok.
Yes, because we're about to have some lit stuff on TikTok.
Boop, boop. And then
this is about to be lit.
And listen, okay, because we're not the only show on this great network. Wild Radio. Yeah. Let me tell you something. First of all, ladies, I would like for you guys to join me. And not you, Carib. Ty and Boogie. I would like for you to join me in congratulating Carib on this station because this woman is doing a phenomenal job. Let's kudos.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yes.
Hardest working woman in media. Yes.
Working.
Behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, everything. She does the daggone thing.
She gets on my nerves, okay?
We love her.
We got to get
we
stuff
love
done.
from her.
I love her too, but she calls me all the time, but she gets on my nerves. But I love her, and I love everything that is happening on Wild Radio. We got Positivity with Poe debuting for a second season here on Wild Radio on Tuesdays. We got chicken wings and comedy things happening on Thursdays.
I love
we got me too, and comedy things, honey. They funny too.
They are.
And then we got What the Heck Sports Show with Jalen Hextall, and of course the staple, the staple of the show, of the station, really, Mental Salvation Radio, was been on for a very long time. Shout out to Enoch the Seventh Prophet. And there are more shows coming to the platforms. Let me tell you something.
Man,
Wild Radio is doing it.
People been busy in the pandemic. That's for daggone sure.
They're being heard and seen on Wild Radio.
Yes, they are. I like that.
That was a good one. Yes.
You're going to have to start paying me for all these commercials.
I know, right? You coming?
Because I don't get paid right now.
Let's get it. Let's go. Yes.
Let's go. So that's going to be a wrap for this show.
Yes. Yes. So again,
great show, ladies.
I'm about to say again, be sure to tune in. On Wednesdays, tune into our live show again, Wednesday, March 31st. Our live show will be celebrating Global Sisters United Day. So if you're a woman who wants to be on the show, we're going to have we got some special stuff going on at the end of the show. You're going to be able to see all these women from across the world. So reach out to us. Hit us up on our social media. Again, that's BLK Women CC across all social media. Tune into our next show on sensuality, and I want to take it out with this song, and this is by Nikki Andre. This is another indie throwback. I love old music. That's just me, especially older indie music, and this is actually called Clear by Nikki Andre. So that kind of goes into some of the things that we were talking about earlier during the show. So I hope you guys enjoy this next song, and of course, remember, visionaries empower you guys. Black women connecting communities. Peace.
Peace.
It's not safe to walk your streets at night. Feels like being she's an endless fight. And I can't pretend that faith still lives here. Powers that be now demystify all that's left of love is sex and strife. And it's us and them, I can't fit in. I won't and wait for one good man to break through. Make this feel real, 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 real. Clear and heal this and feel this. I can't believe what we've missed and steal this back from every fact we made a deal with. 'Cause you're not, and I'm not, and we're not, and you're not clear. And I know I don't belong here. Yeah, you've made it crystal clear that I'm never gonna fit here. Still, is anybody there? 'Cause I wanna get away, gotta get away. Gonna save my day. I'm crying till the day, dying till the day. It's clear and heal this and feel this. I can't believe what we've missed and steal this back from every fact we made a deal with. 'Cause you're not, and you're not, and you're not, and you're not here. You can't save me. You can't see me. I'm not breathing if I'm not feeling. And please don't tell me that I'm not seeing. 'Cause you're not, and you're not, and you're not, and you're not, oh no. 'Cause you're not, and you're not here. But I still feel somewhere clear.
Wow Radio, keeping a firm grip on the community. We handle today's issues for tomorrow's successes. Wow Radio.
I was deep